have you posted the new link?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't see you, Andrews. Are you in the one that I just sent you like a minute ago? Here you are. I see you. This is great. Okay, fabulous. All right.
Were you recording?
I will record. I think let's record. Do you remember?
Is it? Oh, that's video.
It automatically records the first 6 hours, so I think we're good. We're in good shape. All right, sorry about all the preamble there. My name is Nelda Schulte, and welcome to Ask Nelda Almost, in brackets, Anything. This is my partner in crime and my husband, Gil Donkersgood. And we're joined by the very clever and helpful Andrews Moses of Tenantcube tonight. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. Sorry about this last minute link, folks. For those of you who have joined on, we had some technical issues and had to reestablish a new event. And, there are always joys with working with new technology, but Andrews has a really excellent message to share tonight. And we're really looking forward to sharing that. So the reason that I started doing this is because I started a business investing years ago as a property investor. And I made every possible error and mistake known to mankind. And of course, it cost me big time because real estate always costs you a lot of money. And so I decided I wanted to help people learn from my mistakes with my do-it-yourself landlording business that has videos and articles and reports and online courses. And I do these great interviews with people who are there to support landlords in Canada and elsewhere. When I bought my first property, I was a deer in the headlights. And I'm here to help you bypass landmines and to fast track and turbocharge to the profitable, easy, fast way of doing things rather than the painful, slow, money-sucking way of doing things, which is how I did it. As mentioned, my name is Nelda, and my husband's name is Gil. Our special guest tonight is Andrews Moses, the founder of Tenantcube. Andrew's background and his expertise are in computer science and business. And he's been involved in a number of digital startup businesses, most recently Tenantcube, which is probably taking up all of his time. And Tenantcube's mission is to help every landlord find the right tenant, keep them longer by providing an amazing renting experience. And that's what tonight's topic is about: how to manage your rental portfolio effortlessly. I'm having a little trouble with my tongue tonight, with Tenantcube. And one more thing I wanted to mention is Andrews has his own portfolio of properties, and he was frustrated trying to find a property management software program for people who only had a handful of properties. And you usually don't start with hundreds of properties, and that's what the big property management software programs are for. They're for people with thousands of properties. So Andrews decided, well, what the heck? I've got the background and the expertise. I'll just create my own property management program. And he invented Tenantcube. So Andrews, welcome. Can you tell us how Tenantcube works and who it's for?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Nelda. Thanks, Gil, for that sweet introduction. Sure, not at your level yet, but I've made my fair share of mistakes before I started Tenantcube. Maybe before I start sharing my screen, just a high level on my story on why I started is similar to you, Nelda. My first tenant was an armed robber and a drug dealer.
Oh,
so I learned everything you shouldn't do as a landlord, and then what all things you need to do, right? And then that's where it really hit me that, somebody told me it's passive. It's not passive, it's a lot of work. And then talk to enterprise software companies, their chatbots won't talk to you, right? They're like, oh, how many units? Did you say 5? Okay, come back when you have 500. Come back when you have 1,000.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? Like you said, I had the expertise. Why not build it? Is kind of the path we took. And so we are here. So I'm going to quickly walk you through a high level of, I'm not going to go deep into everything, just high level walk you through the functionality.
Yeah, that's
I'll
great.
share my screen. Let me know when you see it. Again, if there is any questions at the end of the session, I'll be happy to answer anything. Are you able to see my screen?
I can,
Yep.
yeah, that's great.
All right, perfect. So I'll just start it off with just kind of high level 3 things pretty much, right? So I'm going to start off with the basics requirement for a landlord. We all have different ways to store data, like property information, pictures. It's a lot of work, right? I mean, you don't have one single place to go see how many square foot that property is. It might be rented for 5 years. It's back in the market. Where do you go find this information? Keep that all in one single place with all your pictures and everything, all the amenities, every detail about that property, so that whether it is an individual property or a multiplex, you have everything available to you right there. So like when this property comes back in the market, you don't have to go take new pictures. Everything is already carried over. You create a new title and then off you go, right? So it kind of helps you save that time and hassle of going back and forth, trying to look at your sales documents and drives to download pictures and whatnot. It's all available to you in one single location. Now that's your digital repository of everything that you own and manage. Now, once that's done, right? I mean, when a property is available in the market, the first mistake I did was my first tenant was onboarded through a handshake,
Oh,
which I learned was definitely not the right way to do it. So when I went to talk to a paralegal, they're like, "Oh, can you give me their license?" I'm like, "I don't know. What's your last name?" "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay, literally, you probably can't get your money back." Right? So today what we do is we create a public listing so that landlords can look professional, right? Even though you're a single unit, you might have 5 units. You're not just going to ask for PDF documents. You have a public link for your listing, which can be easily shared onto social media. Again, why pay an arm and a leg to a property manager to do it when you could easily share it onto different groups, post it onto different messengers, and attract your own tenants, right? Now, when they go through that link, they would see a link to apply to the whole property, right? So if you want to send them a personalized invitation, you can send them. So typically what happens is you show the property and somebody says they're super interested. Instead of asking them to download a PDF, fill it out and send it to them, you got it all done right digitally. So now the tenant knows you're not a rookie landlord anymore, right? Geez, okay, I got to go through the steps, submit this. Now the next step is, out of 5, you might have 2 people who might call you and say, "Oh, the application is too cumbersome. I don't have internet." You know who they are, right? But apart from, out of the 5, if you get 3 applicants, you get every data in a single view for you, right? So all their information related to their application, documents collected, everything is available to you in one single interface for you to look through it. And let's say if you ever wanted to run a credit check, again, you don't have to leave the system. Hit buy credit report. You can purchase it. You can purchase it directly or have the applicant pay for it, and you will receive an Equifax report through our system, so you know it's not forged. It's direct through the system, and you will receive it within 5 to 10 minutes of the tenant paying that
oh, that's
charge.
great. Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I've been doing tenant applications on my own Steam. So I have my own tenant application, which is very thorough. But then I've got about 5 or 6 different sections. So I end up creating folders on my desktop that I put all, put the credit check in, I put their documents in. And then some people have said, "I'm not comfortable dealing with this online. I want to give you the information. I want to put it in your hands," because they're afraid of identity theft. So it's nice that you have that other layer of security through your system.
Yep, absolutely. And see, you could ask about the security stuff, right? I mean, if you're sending an email, stuff through email, attaching documents, it's not as secure as you think, right? Like our system is hosted at AWS, and it's all completely secured and both way encrypted or doing transfer, right? And one thing, as a tenant, they always have control over their data. So at any time, if they've submitted an application on our system, they can go and inside their portal through which they submitted on Tenantcube, and they can delete or revoke access to a landlord. So let's say they sent it to you, and they think, you know what, okay, maybe this didn't go through, but I don't want to really leave my documents there. They can revoke access. So you can never do that with an email. Once it's gone, it's
No.
gone.
No. And even when I read an Equifax report, people would say, well, how do I know you're not hanging on to my information? How do I know you've destroyed it? And I mean, those are all legitimate questions. I'd wonder the same thing. If someone's got my birth date, my SIN number, my address. Yeah, I want to know what you're doing with it and if you've destroyed it properly so no one else can get their hands on it. So it's great that they can revoke access because then they know it's done.
Yep, absolutely, and it's all stored securely in Canada. I mean, on AWS is probably one of the safest data centers you can ever hope for. Right, so everything is safe, and it's secure, and you decide who you provide access to.
So that's actually good for the landlord too, because that reduces their exposure to risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from our side, like I said, right? I mean, I've seen landlords have paper copies on their tables and stuff, which is a lot less secure than having it digitally stored somewhere with access.
Even in files and file folders, like there are so many bad habits that landlords have that we need to use technology to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you use the technology to kind of protect yourself and see how much. You're providing a great experience, that's first, and then obviously you need to be careful of security and privacy as well, right? So we respect everything, provide that experience with the security. That's what's needed today, right?
It works both ways. It protects the tenant and it protects the landlord. So that's really
that's excellent.
Yeah, and absolutely, it definitely helps both parties, like you guys mentioned. And I mean, at the end of the day, for a small landlord to do all this, right? I mean, first off, they don't really understand the application process. They don't know what documents to ask. Versus having a system looking professional itself is a win, right? I mean, if I had this system, probably that drug dealer would not have even tried to apply to my property.
No, actually, that's what we found. Like, I have very thorough, I call it very robust tenant screening process. And new landlords have said to me, holy caboodles, edited version, aren't you going to scare the tenants off? And I said, no, good tenants are not scared off by a professional process. They actually like to show you their credit score and their credit report. It's like a kid who's got a straight A report card. They can't wait to show it to their parents. And it's the same way with good tenants. They're happy to jump through all the hoops. It's the bad tenants that you scare off with the professional process. And that's exactly what you want to do.
We actually were told it would be easier to get into Fort Knox than to get into our properties.
Well, not quite. But they did say, I've got, what is that frequent card that's supposed to get you through customs? You haven't traveled in such a long time. It's supposed to let you through customs quickly if you're a frequent flyer. Anyway, we had a Filipino couple who were real sweethearts, and they said it was easier for us to get that card to travel internationally than it was to get into your property. But they were very good tenants,
and they got in. They followed the bouncing ball, and that's what you need for a couple reasons. One is because you want to know that the people you're going to work with are going to be cooperative. If they're going to start pushing back against these things, then you know that they're probably going to cause trouble down the road. And
if they can spend 5-10 minutes putting an application together with all the information you request, if they're that busy, they shouldn't be renting properties, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and I mean, we get pushback all the time. Like some of our landlords tell us, listen, I didn't start it this way, right? Like I've had a fair share of mistakes of taking the easy path. Now, I don't need 25 applications. I just need one good applicant.
Yep.
That's my mentality, right? Like out of the 50 people I show, I'm not looking for 25 applications. I'm looking for a good 2 or 3 applications that put the time in, give me as much as data they need, and then it's easy for me to make that decision and move on, right? That's all you need. You need one tenant at the end of the day.
And someone who's, and you'll know if the person's easy to work with, and you can get along with them. Because it's like dating. You're in the dating phase, and then once they're your tenant, you're in a long-term relationship with them.
Yeah, exactly. Like once you hand over the key, then the tide switches sides, right? So do your due diligence, spend the time. If the tenant's willing to do that, then maybe look for someone else.
Yeah, once the key's handed over, that turns into a whole different game if you have to, if you're going to run into problems. And we all know that.
Yes, we do. Everyone's learned from experiences. Anyway, I'm really glad you didn't stop after your first bad experience. You just kept going.
Yep,
you needed
absolutely.
to learn, and then even created your own property management program. Which
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? That's where there was another option as well. Like I could have hired a property manager to do it, but then when I looked at it, they wanted 10%. They wanted every time they showed up, they had a set hourly fee, and then they said 20% on top of all the work orders and charges you get. I'm like, I invest in real estate to make money, not to pay someone else half my
Yeah.
rent, right? So
Yeah,
then
I
I
know.
said,
So I'm curious, you're in Ontario, right?
correct.
And are all your properties in Ontario as well?
Yeah, currently all are in Ontario. Well, I mean, we are expanding as well. I mean, I wanted to wait until we had a solution in place first before we start expanding our portfolio. So I think this is the time. 2022 is the year.
I was going to say that even if you do choose to hire a property manager, you still need to know what the processes are, and you should still be familiar with Andrew's system, because you need to know what you need to know to manage your property manager. Not all property managers are the same. Some are very good, and some of them not so good. Some of them are horrible.
Yep.
And you have to make sure that you know the information that you need to keep your properties running smoothly. You can't sort of leave everything up to them to run your business, or it'll just go walking out the door. So, yeah, that's why I think Andrew's system is so excellent, because even if you're starting with your first property,
and that's our point, right?
You're putting good systems and processes in place.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole kind of premise behind why we created it. Like, if you could do, the idea was, if Tenantcube can solve most of your mundane admin tasks, like if you could automate some of it and kind of simplify it for you, you were more likely to do it yourself and save that additional money that you're shelling out, increase your return on investment.
And it's rinse and repeat, where if once you have a system in place, you can expand without creating a whole lot of effort.
Exactly, and that's the point. Once you got it figured out, now you should be spending time looking for new properties and buying properties and expanding your portfolio, rather than sitting and chasing paperwork.
Yeah.
Yep. Or chasing tenants and trying to solve
That's
problems.
kind of the premise, right? So what we did was, now that you've figured out how to onboard a tenant, right, we thought we should make it easy for them to simplify it, to write leases and stuff, because that's another tedious process, right? Collecting payment is another tedious process. People are usually they don't know the structure, or they don't have the time to do all this, right? So we built in, like, these, like, region specific leases can be set up, and it's super easy for you to run a lease. Like, all the data from your listing, from tenant information, is already pre-populated for you. So why would you not do it on the system? Why would you need someone else to do it for you, right? So we got most of it done. In 10 seconds, your Ontario specific lease is generated. It's not just Ontario, right? I mean, we have customers in Halifax with their templates. We have customers in Vancouver with their templates. You name it, we got templates built for a customer, so that it's, I mean, at the end of the day, it's one region specific template.
Right.
If you want to add additional terms, you have the flexibility in the system to do that. And I mean, compare this with manual process, right? You need to copy data. You see that Ontario lease pre-filled, everything's pre-populated. Now, as a landlord, all that you have to do is hit send for signature. That's it. All parties now have the lease copy. They can sign it, and then, well, you can onboard them.
So is this an electronic signature, or is it do we have to print it?
It's an electronic signature. Everything is digital. So we just send copies to all tenants. They sign it. Landlord signs it. Everything comes right back into the same system.
Excellent.
Very good.
Right. The next thing you want to do is rent payments. Again, we simplified it as much as we could. Right. So super easy to do it. If you're doing a one-time payment, you enter the one-time payment requested. If you want to set up auto payment for EFT, you set it up here, request the amount, and there you go. rent for 310 Oakdale.
I'll be right back. I just have to step away.
No problem. So you just do that. That's it. The invitation is sent. They accept it, and the money just rolls in. Right now, the way it works is something like this. Like our tenants are all set up on debit, pre-authorized debits. Every first of the month, the system will automatically dip into their bank account, pull the money, and deposit it right into my bank account.
Excellent.
All right. So that way, again, the reminders and stuff are kind of the awkward stuff that new landlords deal with, right? I mean, it's the end of first. Do I message them today? Do I give them a day or two? Versus the system reminds them. Even if you're not set up direct deposit, the system's reminding them so that you could stay out of that awkward conversation. It's a system. It's built professionally, and it gets the job done.
Oh, that's great.
Right. I mean, last piece is if you want to request insurance copy, which a lot of landlords don't, and they should, in order to protect themselves, you could request it. Everything will come right back into the tenant kind of portfolio here. If you see it, all the leases signed with this tenant sits right here. Any insurance copy submitted, if they have co-tenants, if they've set up auto payment, any document, any notices you're serving, any additional documents you're serving can be uploaded to be tracked in one single place.
That is most excellent.
Yeah, the last piece that we built is that now that we have great tenants, we've done our hard work to put the right tenants in, provide them a great experience so that they stay longer, right? So the last piece is that how can we make it comfortable for them, right? So simple work order systems, like rather than calling people, like we give them a mobile app to our tenants, so that at any time they have an issue, they could just document a ticket right on the system. They can throw a ticket right from their phone. They can create a maintenance ticket with pictures. And as a landlord, you can have that conversation on the same work order so that everything is documented and the system is transparent, right? I mean, whether it's a tenant or landlord, both parties are covered. It's all completely tracked and it's transparent within the system.
So once the tenant applies, does their information automatically go into their own tenant portal, or do they have to reset up a new one once you have an application?
It's automatically updated. They can use the same login, same account. If they've created that information, we will automatically map them so that they don't have to recreate any of this data.
Oh, that's great.
Right. Like one last piece that I want to share with you is also whatever we have done on this, right? Like, because I don't know, I don't think the system allows me to share. I don't think it allows me to share my phone. Yeah, so it does not allow me to share my phone, but there is a mobile app as well. So what we could do in the mobile app, similar stuff like what you said, you have it on your phone, work order comes right onto the phone. Your, let's say, even the income expenses come right onto your phone. So for example, if you have an expense, you have income and expenses on your phone, you could just snap a receipt and upload it to a property. So that way, end of the year, flip that report right to the accountant and they run the taxes for you. You don't have to worry about shoe boxes and Excel sheets running it back and forth.
5,000 Excel files.
Yeah.
I
mean, Excel works. It definitely works. But I mean, if you already have a great solution, why not add that piece, right? That was kind of what our idea was. How can we build everything in one place and make this accessible from wherever the landlord is?
Right.
Like, you don't have to be situated in the region. So right now I can buy property in Calgary. I can buy property in Alberta and I can manage it on my system. I don't need to be in Alberta, right? It's all digital. Everything can be managed. I mean, the world is moving so fast. We shouldn't be tied to any location, right? And that's kind of our premise of, you could be in Mexico vacationing, and if a tenant has an issue, comes right onto your phone, you can assign it to your handyman on the phone and just know that it's been tracked, everything is taken care while you're enjoying your pina coladas.
So will the application actually send out an email or some notification to your handyman to say, leaky faucet, please go in and fix it?
Absolutely. So there's multiple ways they could do it. We do email notification. We also have a mobile app for field agents as well, So it's included in the package. People could add all their handymen onto the system. Anytime you need a job done, you assign it to them. They get the work done, and then they can take a picture at the end of it, so that
Nice.
everything is documented again.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about, I've got the best handyman in the whole world in one of my properties, but he's totally terrified of computers. So does a mobile app, is it texted to him? He understands text.
Yeah, he can send a
And
text.
he
so-
understands how to take pictures and text them, but anything beyond that is like, whoa.
And we get that too. So what we have built is it's almost texting kind of experience on the messaging side. All that they need is it's an app that just pops up. They can reply to it. They could just snap a picture. So we made it super simple because we understand that persona as well, right? Like we understand that people who are doing that don't really want to do desktop based. They don't want to do a lot of email based. So we made it super simple. All that they would see is, here are 3 things that Nelda has requested you to do.
Right.
1, done. Just swipe done. 2nd, take a picture. Done. That's all we need, right? So it's super easy for them to use, and we have made it super simple. There's no noise. All that they see is just 3 things. They click, they can text, add a message, close. That's it.
Well, that's great. So it's just kind of like a message that pops up on their phone, but it doesn't go through their actual text messaging.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So instead of texting, it's more digital. It's all built into the app, so it's super easy and it's trackable as well, right? But once you get out of the system, it's not trackable. Like if you go into a text message from the system, so now it's not tracked. The date time stamps are not working inside the system. So if you have an issue and you print out work orders, there might be gaps in the communication, right? It's out on text messaging, it's back on WhatsApp. So you miss that communication, versus we've simplified it in a way that everything can be in one place, and it's super simple for anyone to use it as well.
Well, if my maintenance man can use it, I think anybody can. I'll give it a shot with him.
You'll be surprised.
Even changing
You'll
door
be
codes.
surprised how, yeah, you'll definitely be surprised how easy it is to use. And I mean, we've had people who have gone from, yeah, my guy doesn't like it, to, oh my God, he's so happy now that I'm not bothering him, calling him 200 times a day. So he's like, oh, it's a big saver for him, because he just gets a job done, adds a note, closes it, and he's on his way. He's not calling me to tell me, hey, I'm here, I'm leaving, nothing. Everything is done, and he's happy now, because at the end of the day, he gets his job done and it's documented for him, right? So
I love that. It's like a little project manager and well, I was going to say gatekeeper. It's not really a gatekeeper. It's a storage unit. Storage unit and a project manager and a taskmaster. I love it.
yeah, it's super easy. And again, it's what we have today, right? But we are constantly evolving as well. Like where we were 2 months ago was we didn't even have a work order module. We didn't have payments. So we are growing super fast, and we're growing really fast, and our team's also growing. So, and we really look up to customers, right? I mean, even because I've gone through that, like sometimes our customers are like, really, you're charging me $20 for all of this? Are you guys going to help me? And then we provide them the service and the support, and they're like, oh my God, okay. I don't understand how you guys run this business, right? So I mean, at this point, it's more a purpose driven to start, and then as we grow, and then we'll see how it goes.
That sounds brilliant. I actually signed up for it as soon as I did his 20-minute demonstration a couple months ago, and I said, sign me up, because I've got tons of stuff all over the place. Now I have to start kind of moving stuff over. I didn't have any properties for rent at the time, but I do now. And I'm going to try the whole thing from beginning till end with Tenantcube, with my new set of tenants, and we'll see how all that goes. I'm sure it's going to go much better than me keeping everything in 1,000 locations.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, see, that's what the other trend that we are noticing with technology and adoption of this is that there was always a I know everything, like it's in my mind. I know how to screen tenants. I know how to do work orders. Versus we're seeing a big change in generational switch now. I would say the guys with 60 units, 50 units, passing it on to their kids
Yeah.
are now looking for technology that can do most of the work, because the kids are not as experienced as the dads and the moms who are passing it on to their kids.
Yeah.
So that's becoming an opportunity for us, where we're seeing the dad comes in and says, guys, I don't like technology, I hate it, but my kids don't do the way I want to do it. They want to do it different. Can you
Yeah.
guys help them manage the property? And then
And
we've
it
seen
makes sense. I mean, the kids nowadays, they're going to say, why would I do this work when technology can do it for me?
So
exactly.
your tool is kind of the transition between the two generations. And actually, I have a potential client who has quite a few properties, and he has always outsourced to a property manager, and he decided he wanted to bring everything in-house and have people use his systems and his processes, and he just hired somebody new. So he hadn't written all these things down. He's running into the same kinds of issues that you're talking about right now. And so Tenantcube would be really good for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's definitely, I mean, we're seeing it, right? I'm seeing it in action right now, because we have had people who have told us, I will never use technology, to now thinking, oops, I never thought about it. Like my daughter lives in Vancouver, I live in St. Catharines. How the hell am I going to pass it on to her when I want to retire? Like, I want to be gone. Like, he's like, I want to be gone. I want to go to somewhere that's hot. And I want to be able to, the other thing in that same process, right? I mean, with the technology, they want to be accessible, but they don't want to be intrusive.
Yeah.
They want to let their daughter or son run it. And if they have trouble, they want to be there on a mobile app to give them feedback or help them. But they don't want to be the ones doing the work and managing it and kind of being more intrusive in the business, right?
Exactly.
So it's a transition on, I'm there to help you when you need me. Just I'm on the system, but I'm not going to be doing anything. You guys do it. If you need me, ask me any questions.
Yeah, and it's much better to have it on a digital system that way too, because then you don't have too many people with their fingers on the pie.
Right.
Which actually happened to us when we had a property management business. You know, I'd start something, Gil would do something, our communication somehow didn't match up because we were busy running off in two different directions, and things got missed.
And honestly, I'm the world's worst organizer, and probably would have really benefited from some tool that would have helped me organize requests. I can think of one incident where there was a ceiling fan that we installed that didn't work properly, and I'm not sure if I ever got the message or not, but if I did not record it, and that turned into a bit of a headache. Like just stuff like that, where if you had the tool, and if you just typed into the tool, fix ceiling fan, it wouldn't get forgotten.
We also have recurring stuff that we need to do around the house, right? Again, it's not passive at all. Like, even if the tenant does not call you, every 6 months, you got to go change a filter. Who's going to remind you? But the system, if you put it as a scheduled task that just shows up 6 months, that, hey, you change the filter, make sure you go do this, make sure you do that winter cleaning or spring clean, all that stuff can be automated, so that, again, even same thing, like it's more than being unorganized. Most landlords have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And they're trying to run families. They're super busy.
Yeah.
They don't have the time to remind to go attend to something that, I mean, I'm busy already with my house, my family, my work, and I have to remember to go change a filter at some place, my property, which it gets hard, right? And that's what we're trying to solve.
And not just that, but here in Alberta, if you have a fixed term lease, which we always do fixed term lease 1 year, and if you let that go, it turns into month to month if you don't do a new lease.
Right.
This is where reminders would be really good. And, we like to send our tenants chocolates at the end of the year or whatever, like little things like that. All these things could be thrown into a calendar and
yeah, I mean, maybe maybe a year down the road, you can send NFT chocolates through Tenantcube. You never know. Or Bitcoins, share some cryptocurrency.
One
Yeah,
click,
just
right?
to
You do the
send,
whole
send a couple of
process.
cryptocurrencies to your tenants.
Yeah.
And that's how the world's going to change, right? And we are always ahead of, I mean, catching up. We're always want to build something for the future, not just for today, right? So that's our goal, where we want to build something that's 10 years ahead, not trying to work on stuff for today and then kind of reinvent ourselves again, right? So we know the property management business has been sitting there without a lot of innovation, especially in the
It has.
landlord side. We wanna build for tomorrow. Build for my son who's 2 years old. When he's managing properties, probably he'll be able to still use Tenantcube. That's kind of our goal.
Well, that's
Right?
great.
Nice.
I'll be like, my dad's a genius, but he should have done this and this.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. Not too many kids call their parents geniuses. Genii.
No.
I don't know what the plural of that is. Can you show us on your interface where the reminder is where you can schedule reminders? Is that in your system right now?
Yeah. So when you create work orders, that's the thing, and even for lease, like Gil mentioned, right? So pre-did them automatically. We have like a 90-day filters, 60-day filters, and 30 days. So the lease is running in the back end. It sends you an email automatically 90 days before that. Hey, there are 3 leases due in the next 90 days. Right.
Okay.
So that way, even if you don't have to keep checking every time, the system will remind you. Right. So that's how we build it, where it's more let the system run. And if there is an exception or if it needs attention, it brings it to you. You attend to it, and then you go on your way doing what you do regularly. Right. So that's kind of how we build.
So the lease is great. That I understand. I'm just not quite clear on how you could build in, change the furnace filter.
Yeah, it's called recurring work orders. So when you have a
Sorry, we didn't get that.
Yeah.
no, it's called recurring work orders. So when you create a work order, so now you can schedule it and say this is going to be recurring every 6 months. This will reoccur every a year, right? So you created once, it reoccurs, right? So those are things that, I mean, based on currently we have that work order which is scheduled. Now the next thing we're doing is recurring work orders, right? So we'll get into that, and then the future thing with.
My question is, can we send that recurring order to the tenant to basically say, hi tenant, we need to replace the furnace filter. Hi tenant, we need to turn off the water so that we don't get bursting pipes outside, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could create work orders automatically, and then you have the note options and stuff like setting up responsibility and who's going to do that, right?
Okay.
So it's a reminder for both parties. When a work order is created, you have a landlord and a tenant. Both parties will be notified that there is a new work order, and what needs to be done in this will be a recurring occurrence.
Great. That's great.
So it'd be really cool if we could actually get the tenant to respond saying,
yeah,
I turned off the water.
I changed the filter.
Furnace filter, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe we'll get into shipping stuff too. We do like we could also set up like a periodic shipping of a filter automatically 3 months in, create a work order, and then once you replaced it, go close the ticket.
That's great.
Right. So
I know a lot of landlords, and we started doing this too. If you have a furnace filter that needs to be changed, I buy a year of them in advance and write the date, January, February, March, 2022, whatever, so that they have them and they know that if they see a filter there and it's got that month's date on it, they have to take the old one out and put the new one in.
But they would have to actually go down to the furnace room.
Have to go to the furnace room.
Where if you had an actual reminder on your phone that said, hey, go and change the furnace filter, that would be.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that can happen in Tenantcube, so that way they remember to go do it. And I mean, we also do some kind of one thing we realized like from the software side was good, and then we also kind of got into some of the concierge services as well. We offer some kind of concierge service for small landlords. So when I say service, it's more, again, instead of a property manager charging 10%, what we do is we just handle work orders for landlords. So if they're too busy, they can let our team, tech team, or our customer center take all the toll-free calls 24/7, attend to it, work with vendors, get the resolved between the tenants so that the landlord does not have to be bothered late night at 4 a.m. somebody locked himself out. instead of calling the landlord, they contact our contact center as well.
That's great. This is why we went with keyless entries. Remote
sorry?
entries. This is why I've gone with remote entries. Like keyless entries, either they plug in an access code or they can access it from their phone like a smart.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Although when the battery dies, that turns into a bit of an issue.
It's a bit of an issue. And sometimes
So
when
you need to replace batteries for that. Schedule it automatically, so every X amount of time you go replace the battery. We got you covered there too.
yeah, that's
never
great.
an opportunity to miss a sale. I love this.
And then the other thing is when it gets really cold, this is the other thing I've discovered. When it gets to be freakishly cold outside, batteries don't like to work very much. So if it's minus 30, minus 40.
And we're in Calgary where it does hit minus 30
Does it
and minus 40.
minus 30 and 40.
Oh,
Batteries
we get
don't
it
work.
there as well.
So could you back up and just maybe kind of go over an overview of what you just covered with us?
Overview of, sorry?
Can you just back up and show us, share your screen with us and show us again, just like a brief overview. I covered this.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, just to wrap it up, I could do that. So right. So first off, we have a single repository for all your properties. So all your pictures, everything is available in one place. You could easily create listings from existing database, share it with people on different channels. You have the same option on your phone as well. When you're showing property, you open your mobile app and you can invite people on any channel, text, WhatsApp, Skype, however you want. You could send those invitations out. An application comes right back into the system, so that we always say, trust but verify. You got all the data. You got the information, run a credit check if you need right here, so that you verify the information provided. Once that person is great, you think they're awesome, convert them into a tenant. You could generate digital leases on the system by creating leases. You can request payment. So everything related to month-on-month stuff like automatic rent collection can be enabled on the system. So that, again, from a tenant perspective, they don't have to remember to pay it on time, or they might miss it. So it's all automated. And finally, providing them a great experience, so that if there is a leaky faucet, they just use our mobile app to submit a work order, and they can track everything have the conversation and make sure everything is resolved within the system as well. And whatever I've shown you on the system, like I said, like things like that, like scheduling and making sure everything is in line, will also be available on the mobile app. On the mobile app, I mean, if I had a chance, would have been nice to show you. We also have something called expense tracking. What that means is all your income comes into one place, and you can add expenses by property. So when you look at each property, you would be able to easily tell which one's making money, how much money you made on each property. At the end of the year, you could just flip that report out to an accountant to file taxes. So it's almost like an end-to-end, everything you need to avoid paying 10% of your rent is what we built. And again, the premise behind all this is that if you do everything yourself, obviously you save time, and it gives you a lot of exposure, so that you're out there trying to build your portfolio and you're not really stuck with mundane tasks on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, maintenance actually made me crazy. And not dealing with the vendors, because I actually really liked the contractors, and we had a really excellent team of people when we had a property management business. But I would find that the tenants would forget there was an appointment. They wouldn't show up.
Absolutely.
So the contractor would call me and he'd say, Nelda, here I am at the site. You know, these guys are really difficult to arrange a time. It had to be this day, that time, this week.
You can't get into the house because it's locked. And,
it's locked, and they've got a dog, and, you know, on and on and on and on. I wanted to, so that was kind of a real pain in the neck. So, I mean, if I can bypass all that stuff and they can realize that they've got equal responsibility, that I'm not their personal assistant, excellent. Yep. But with my own properties, people know that. They know that it's between them and the contractor to arrange the dates. Correct. And they show up because they want the work done. So
once you assign it to a contractor, then they can have that communication. You also have the access to watch it and kind of manage it if you need it. But then you can be a third person just kind of watching that conversation as well.
Brilliant. So what I want to do is put my affiliate link in here, because could you talk a little bit about pricing? And I'll put my affiliate link in the private chat box.
Sure, absolutely. So with respect to pricing, we are super simple pricing. It's $1 per unit per month. That's all it is. It's $1.
Really?
Yeah, $1 a unit per month. And the way we do it, again, everything you've seen so far is all included, right? So if you're using a credit report, obviously it's a third party. There will be a small charge for that. And for rent collection, again, third party. Anything third party
Right.
that we use is included, but the entire platform is $1 a unit per month is our pricing model.
Wow.
That's super cheap.
It is cheap. Sorry?
Yeah, what were we paying for our property management?
Let's not get into that.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Just
we definitely like fraction of a cost of being a property manager for sure.
When we were doing property management, we had a property management software, and it was not $1 a month a unit, but it was a bit more, I think, robust. But it was intended for people with 500 properties. I mean, it's a whole different game. But for what you guys are doing, geez, I can't even imagine how you can do this for $1 a month of property. I mean,
it gets even better.
That's the typical response we get.
Is it under 3 properties? Under three units?
So there is also a freemium. So we give a basic plan on a freemium plan as well. So if they just want to create repositories and kind of do some of the work like sharing without using lease templates and all that, like just the basics of what we offer, they could use it at three units for free. Just manage expenses and manage expenses, track, do applications and stuff is included on the freemium as well.
That's great. That is most excellent. I'm trying to figure out how to do chat overlay on this. Gil, can you see it? How to do this?
So what are we trying to do?
I want to put in the chat box my affiliate link so that if you want to sign up for Tenantcube, you want to look into it, then you can do it. And I do have an affiliate link, which is excellent. If I could just get in the chat box to work.
I don't know.
So we might be out of luck with that. Oh, here it is. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can also put that in the description. Oh, there you go.
I do work in technology, although it's kind of funny because my son also, he was working for Shopify and now he's working for one of their affiliates. And he frequently tells me that back in the 80s when I was young, I was sort of on the leading edge of technology. And now I'm a Luddite, apparently.
Yes, well, I don't know. We all have to go out to pasture at some point, I suppose. The thing is, there's so many of these different streaming technologies. Anyway, I just decided to try this one out because I had a Zoom. I was using Zoom and I got hacked a couple of times, and that was really bad. So I chose this one, and today was our first kick at the can, and I had to redo an event. So thank you to the participants who did show up with the very, very last minute.
Participants?
Yeah, we do. Okay. With the very, very last minute link that I put in Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
And thank you very much, Andrews, because this is actually quite exciting. I think I would love to represent your product to landlords.
We already are.
Yeah,
we already are. You know, we're sending out affiliate links in our newsletters. You know, I'm including them in on the bottom of my blog post because I just think it's an excellent system, and I just think it's an excellent opportunity for landlords to get in at the ground level when it's super, super cheap.
Yeah.
And there was nothing for us as private property investors of just a handful of properties. You know, we couldn't afford all the big property management software programs that are out there with a handful of properties. It didn't make sense. Whereas this completely makes sense. It's like, why wouldn't you do this? It simplifies your life, streamlines everything. Everything's in one place at one time. Tenants can access it. You can access the information without hunting around for everything. You don't have to be in any one location. I mean, there's been more than one occasion where tenants have said, you know, Nelda, I need access to this document because whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm not in Calgary right now. I'm wherever. I'm in Ontario. I'm in wherever. And you're going to have to wait until I get home to access it. So that's a thing of the past now. You can just say, just go in and pull it out, and there it is. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm talking about no.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I mean, like I said, I mean, it's something that we're seeing great traction. It's always nice to see, I mean, talk to landlords, and then at the end of the demo, they're like, you know what, okay, this is a no-brainer. It's good. Let's do it. And also, it's a bigger picture. Is about building community for our small landlords, right? So as things evolve and the more people start using our system and platform, there's a lot of things that we can share as landlords between us. When someone's moving from Calgary to St. Catharines, if you have a great tenant, you just send them right into our platform to find a property that Tenantcube user or landlord can easily acquire a better, good tenant from Calgary moving down here. Same vice versa, right? So that's where we want to be. We want to grow the system to help landlords kind of in every aspect of their business and kind of just grow as a community. And that's what, and it's exciting every time I talk to landlords, and everybody has their own horror stories. But I mean, if we could save one landlord a day from professional tenants and kind of help them streamline their life and maybe
That
do
actually
better.
is sort of the mantra that Nelda and I have as well: is learn from our mistakes so that you don't have to repeat them. And
Exactly.
everybody,
I used to have a boss who had always had a signature just said, "You don't live too long enough to make all the mistakes, or learn from others' mistakes." Right.
Oh, that's
So,
great. That's great.
so if you
Yeah.
we
I
know that
also
life
like
is hard.
I like being able to reward good tenants. I like having a monitoring system where you can enter information about tenants and
And
from
we're
local.
working on that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working with partners like we are in discussion with a couple of partners to be able to help them increase their credit scores and stuff when they make
Yes.
payments on time.
I
So
think
that
that's very
way,
important because in one of my properties right now, I've got two really excellent tenants. They not only pay on time every month, they pay usually 2 weeks. 2 weeks ahead is usually when they pay me, or a month
right.
in advance. I mean, they're just excellent, and they take great care of the property. She's
Yeah,
got a modern.
that's the premise of it, right? We want great landlords and great tenants to be on our system. I mean, if you
yes,
want to be a bad tenant, you don't want to be here. If you want to be a bad landlord and kind of not serve your tenants well, you don't want to be here, right? And that's not the market
No.
we serve.
I actually like that. It is a two-way street.
Yes, but the other point that I wanted to make is that like he doesn't have a great credit rating. She has a marginally okay credit rating because they're bad people, because they both went through divorces, and a lot of times ex-spouses ruin your credit rating. That's what happened with them. But I gave them a chance. I don't regret it at all. They've been fantastic, and I believe they pay, since they pay so diligently to take such good care of my property. I should be rewarding them in some way. I would like to help them in some way because they're certainly helping me. So if I can help them raise their credit score, I'd be thrilled to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we're working on, and it should be available pretty soon, because we obviously want to build a good behavior based system, right? I mean, if you're doing things right, you should be rewarded. I mean,
Totally.
that's the way we look at it.
Behavior is really key. Like people who behave badly, they will always behave badly, and people who behave well, they might hit bumps in the road once in a while, but they will recover. They will fix things.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
So we can I like the idea of the community helping each other out. And I think this is what I'm seeing too. This is the trend in landlording, is we're all trying to band together to help each other out.
absolutely.
All I just talked to the former founder of Landlord Lobby and TDS. I think they separated. Anyway, he said he wants all of us to band together and help each other out and pool our resources so that because people don't stay in one place anymore either. People travel all over the place.
Yeah.
Landlords do, property investors do, so do tenants. So if we pool our resources, we're all going to be stronger.
Yeah, I mean, if enterprise companies don't want to help us, we'll help each other and kind of grow, right? We just want to build ecosystem around us and then grow. I mean, we are the biggest market. We own a majority of the property stuff that's rented. So I think it's high time that we build an ecosystem that kind of helps each other and scale our portfolios and build our businesses together. Right. So
You have a good attitude, Andrews.
Yes,
I like it.
we see every day we're onboarding like 5 to 10 landlords in a week, and then to see them kind of use our system and get excited and give us the feedback. That makes our day. So we'll continue to
that's
do
great.
what we can.
Well, you made my day by joining as our guest on this call. And I want to thank you again for being so generous, sharing your time and your talents and your the affiliate link with people for Tenantcube that I posted on the private chat for everyone. And so just to reiterate, if you liked Tenantcube, you can click on the affiliate link and it will take you right to Tenantcube. And if you like this session, like us on Facebook. I have a group called the Real Estate Investment Resource Network. Real Estate Investment Resource Network. I also have a YouTube channel called Nelda Schulte, and please share it with your friends and your family and like it. And if you'd like to have access to free landlording and property investing resources, jump onto my website, www.neldaschulte.com, and click the green membership button. And I have a free program for free members that gives you access to lots of information. So thank you, Andrews, again, for sharing your wonderful program with us. And thank you, those guests who jumped on at the last minute, for joining us tonight and for sharing your time with us. And we look forward to seeing you in the future.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. So yeah, like Nelda said, there's a link for Nelda's affiliate. Please do sign it. If you like it, sign up. If you don't, let us know why you don't like it. We'd love to hear feedback. So like it or not, be in touch. We'll make it work.
That's great. Thank you so much, Andrews.
Thank you very much, Andrews.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night. Cheers.
Good night.